Hey there.
Oh, welcome back. I think it's a ceremony. Oh my God, when I am awesome wonder. Na, 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 na. I think we must open up a service, Vickers, for the All Blacks and the humiliation at Wellington, Poland, on Saturday. Not Wellington and Cape Town there, Jada. Anyway, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Rugby Scoop podcast. I am not by myself. I'm with the stats man, Hugh Griffin. I'm with the coach, Vickers Miranda. I'm with the mastermind, the weatherman, Jade Craig. We are about to go tables, ladders, and chairs today. Tables, ladders, and chairs on the All Blacks. But before we get to that, Hugh Griffin, how are things going? I see you've been enjoying a lot of footy in the Women's World Cup. Talk to me.
Yeah, a lot of World Cup footy, mate. The weather has turned here in Britain, not to steal Jade's bit and be the weatherman, but when the Women's World Cup started, it was lovely and sunny, lovely and hot. And it's not that anymore. It is not that anymore. It is where people are talking about putting the heating on. I said, not in September, lads. But yeah, that's how it is. I got to interview Eloise Webb as well on Friday, which was a massive thrill. Springbok women, she was the one on the 7-1 split yesterday as they took it to the Black Ferns in a very inspirational performance. Of course, the Black Ferns showed the levels in that game. Fantastic second half performance, but yeah, enjoying it now. And currently watching France versus Ireland, where Ireland are 13-0 up, which is a big shock, but they're playing with the wind. There's a hell of a wind in Exeter right now, and it's right at Ireland's back. So we'll see how that goes in the second half.
Yeah, man, the Springbok women had a, what was it, 13, 14 women line out.
Lifted to 9.
What was it, 9 people in that line out?
No, there was 14 in the line out. The 9
14.
jumped.
Fair enough. I saw a clip of it earlier. I couldn't watch the game. My team was playing, I think, at that time yesterday. At least that brought joy. Will bring me joy to my heart. Guys, feeling very churchy today as the All Blacks were humiliated last night. Vickers, how are things in Russia? It's quite cold. I know Man United are playing later on. So can you go 2-0 this weekend?
More like in China, but in China. So it is. It's still a little still good. I think it's an amazing grace kind of a Sunday. Yeah.
Hey man, how amazing grace.
Good.
Good. Jade, I'm sure the cabinet at your household right now is probably empty. Too much Avanti taken away. Drank everything. Finished the water. Finished the kids' juice for break at school. There's nothing more we can say. But how are things? How's the weather in Bloemfontein? I'm sure it's as gloomy as it is here in Amsterdam in the Netherlands.
Skak, bro. Skak. No, the weather's fine, bro. But yeah, you know what? I'll get into it later. One of those days, bro. One of those days. Just say, if I can give a brief comparison, yesterday was like the 7-1 drubbing United Gotham City, the 5-0, the 7-0 lost. they got against Liverpool, it felt like that yesterday.
Yeah. I can imagine.
The Fiji's lost Saturday after the game. It was my daughter's birthday, so we had a party, and I was happy and joyful spirit in the All Black jersey, giving the supporters, giving it to them because I've been waiting like a few years, And then yesterday, the same people, I had to go to another party.
It's a tough time. It's a tough time to be an All Black supporter.
Tough day, but we're getting over it. At least I'm happy to running fly off his back and joining us again.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, people disappear. I've noticed people disappear when the Springboks start losing, and then they come out guns blazing when they start winning. We are people that never hide. We are people that front up and take it on the chin, as Razor put it, which I don't think I agree with taking things on the chin. Considering how Rassie responded to the All Blacks, to the Australian loss at Ellis Park, I mean, that's their fortress, right? For the All Blacks to lose by 40 at home, man, you don't take that on the chin, unfortunately, by any regards. Anyway, before we kick things off, news making headlines. Hugh, I'm sure you know Pat Lam with Bristol Bears. He wants a special scrum law to be introduced, by the way. He suggests that because when there's a scrum reset, so the clock should be stopped and the club resumed once the referee starts calling crouch. So basically, the clock is stopped because then now you don't waste another minute or two for the props to set up, locks to come in. That takes about 30 seconds. And then the referee sees that everyone is stable. He calls crouch. I mean, that's another 45 seconds. I mean, by the time they call set, it's a minute gone, right? So, yeah, I think it's an interesting call from him. I don't know how you guys feel about that regarding that call. But nonetheless, Black Ferns obviously beating Amapogokazi, actually, as I call them, the women's Springbok team yesterday to advance to the semifinals, which is a very, very tough semifinal. I think they will be playing either Ireland or Canada, the Black Ferns. Is that correct, Hugh?
Canada is who they're playing.
Canada, yeah. But, I mean, do you think Ireland are going to beat Canada right now?
Ireland are playing France right now.
I mean, France, sorry. France.
I don't know. The wind is a hell of a wind. I think it might change in the second half.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I think for the news aspect, before we jump into this, Jade or Vickers, maybe you guys can jump in. I mean, we have to pay tribute to Bevan Fontaine, guy we learned that he passed away this past week. I mean, condolences to him and his family. Vickers, did you ever cross paths with Fontaine in the past?
No, bro. Unfortunately not. I only played. Yeah, we played against each other in one of those warm-up games, Cheetahs versus Border, but never got to obviously spend time with him in terms of personal.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I know Bev from Bloemfontein, and while I was in university there, Kaunda was at the Cheetahs at the time as well. So, I mean, hanging around with Kaunda, obviously, there's a place called the Cheetah House. So all these guys were there. Tepo Kokwali back in the days. Trompino Njinga was there. The Shagans, Vint Vogels were there. I mean, Rashid Isaacs, Cheetahs. There was a lot of guys that actually played for the Cheetahs. And Rassie Rasmus was the head coach of the Cheetahs at the time. So you kind of got intel on certain things, when you are young and you hang around these people who are playing professional rugby at the time. It's very interesting, it's an interesting life that you get to see, and obviously you get to learn a few things from the players themselves, right? But yeah, man, it's sad news to learn of the passing of Bevan Fontaine, and I understand that he had a very close relationship with his son as well and his wife. Obviously, condolences to them. Jade, you wanted to chime in there on Bev?
Yeah, I just thought, I'll give a tribute to Bev. Obviously, he's also been done now as a student, basically. I bumped into him a lot, especially, we always see Bevan and Kabamba together, Kabamba Floors, they were the two, inspiration from Cheetahs. There's Kabamba, Bevan, and Eddie. Those are the three guys that you basically see, around, the students, and they'll be always humbling, willing to give advice. Look at Bevan, his path. He came from Blanco club in SVDA, he went on to play for SVDA. Went on to the Cheetahs, won the Currie Cup in 2005. We even Kabamba in his Bulls, with the star-studded Bulls team. That was the year when Meyer Bosman became a Springbok at the end of the year also. And I think at Rusty also he played. That was the year, in fact, the game where Rusty started the rolling subs with the prop Guyani du Plessis, and I think it was Ulleru, and I think it was CJ van der Linde, where they swapped roles, throughout the game.
I think Os was also there, no?
Was also there, yeah. But there was three of them. Nakadrowski was the captain, and they swapped every 10 minutes to swap proper. That was just to show the genius of the Rusty Erasmus. But nonetheless, to give tribute to him, the impact he made on a few guys. Looking at your Lionel Marpus, your Walton Petersons, your those guys coming through the ranks of the Cheetahs.
Yeah,
the way he took them around the shoulder, he helped them, he guided them. And also knowing when to stand down, when to retire, when to step down to let younger talent come through. That also takes a lot of respect from this. Wasn't the most athletic fullback, but solid. He was very solid. Had a few caps for the box. And I think the program that he has down at Northern Rhinos, I think they'll be really missing because they're the best club in South Africa. And keep an eye out for his boy. His son is a baller, son's playing for SVD. Watch him through the ranks. He's a real beast. Reminds me a lot of Wolangi, the youngest one. What's his name? The young one's playing for France now. Reminds me a lot about him, but it's a real beast. So, he'll really be missed amongst us. He'll be missed in the group chats as well. So,
nice.
Seriously, he's best.
Nice. Well said there, Jade. Condolences once again to his friends and closest friends and family as well. I think you might kick us off with this, because I know I've understood actually that when we start talking Springboks, we can go on for a full hour when we talk Springboks and All Blacks. So I would rather kick things off now than waiting to kick things off a bit later. So let's kick it off with the Springboks and the All Blacks. Takeaways, hot takes. What do we get out of this? Last week, it almost was like a World Cup final in terms of how the game was contested. This week, totally different game. Totally different outcome. Totally different game tactics. Also, totally different stats, right? If we look at both stats from last weekend, how things transpired, and this weekend, how things transpired. It's almost it almost boils down to what people always say, right? 7 days is a long week in rugby. 7 days is a long week in rugby. Things can change quickly, and things did change in Wellington. Talk to me, Griffin.
Yeah, it's a bad rugby championship for the bookies, isn't it? Because everything that you think, this is nailed on, now we have the data, the opposite happens. And we've literally had, the 2 rounds of 2, and the result is switched both times. I think, obviously, if we talk about what's a shock and what isn't, I think for me, the result shouldn't be a shock. Like I said last week, I was incredibly disappointed with the Springboks and how they showed up for that game. Of course, it's a completely different Springbok team that played this week. And now this is a question for Rassie, because he's, as we've spoken many times, doubled down on this intense rotation of players. And now he's had a game where his kind of, if you like, old guard, his reliable guys have not performed. And now he's had a game where the completely new guys coming through have performed. And you asked the question, Scoop, last week about, where is the young locks and things, and we can talk about maybe, which department it's in, but maybe not in second row. But you look at the centres, for example, with Willemse and Moody. How do you drop those guys now after this game? How do you say to these guys, no, you're not playing next week? But then that means that you are dropping Damien Dialende and Jesse Creel. How do you tell those guys that they've been dropped? So this is a big test of Rassie now in his management. But if we talk about the game itself, if you watch the highlights of this game, you won't know what it's like. Because we were saying in the chats in the first half, like, this is a mess. This game is a mess. And the Boks in the first half, you look back on it now and say they had 2 tries disallowed. And you'd say, well, it could have been worse. But at the time, it felt like, guys, they're messing it up again. The line out again was a mess. And with all of the injuries, they had used all of their back 3 replacements in the first half, or maybe all but one. Then you'd say this is a disaster so far. But of course, now we know later on that it wasn't a disaster at all. But that's how it felt at the time. But I don't know. I've got to let the New Zealand fans on the call speak, because we talked about overplaying, Scoop, and you put in the chat about are they overplaying? So the New Zealand had 41% territory, 47% possession at home, which isn't very at-home stats. They passed the ball 186 times, but only carried 95 times. So 2 passes for every carry. So I'll just let you guys go with that little stat there.
Jay, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, Scoop, before we get in on the negativity and, everything in terms of the All Blacks and stuff, I think Razor adjusted his game plan yesterday. I mean, there was times where most of the game we had Audi, Satiti and Parker, at least 2 of them standing in the channels out wide. They looked to go and attacking, trying to get the ball out wide, and it costed them a few times. I mean, you can look at it, you can see in the first half where David McKenzie broke through from a wraparound from Bowden Barrett, we couldn't execute the pass out wide. Billy Proctor not executing the pass out wide, or pushing the pass, getting intercepted by Jason Colby. Ori Savia, just keep the ball in the first half, trying a forward pass, and from there the Boks scored. That was the game plan yesterday, was trying to get the ball out wide as quick as possible, and I don't think that was right. So that resulted in them overplaying, overdoing stuff. I mean, they overcomplicated stuff at line-out time as well. So they really went into a panic yesterday. A panic they shouldn't have went into. There was no reason for them to panic at the time. They should have just shown guts and character. But yeah, in terms of that aspect, I'll get more into the emotions of the All Blacks, but I can't talk about the All Blacks first without giving the Boks credit. There was all reason for the Boks to believe, yes, like we threw this game away at all time. And they came back and they hit the All Blacks so hard. So whatever Rassie did and the adjustments he made, him and Tony Brown made at half time, all credit to them, because they were brilliant yesterday. I think it's one of those games. If you want a comparison of this game, go and look at 2016. I think it's 2016 or 2017. The game the All Blacks played against South Africa in Durban.
Yeah.
Where I think All Blacks won 17, something like that.
I was there live.
They just ran away with it, and the Boks just gave up. And I think yesterday the All Blacks as well, after that Willem's try and that the kick from Will Jordan, it went out over the goal line. That was when it was gone and done. And
really?
I'm Razor. Yeah, I think so. After that, it was gone and done. I think I'm Razor. I'm targeting the first people I'm targeting this weekend is my leadership group. There's no way for guys to drop their heads on the field like that. You need to show more character, and we'll touch more on that later on. But I just need to give we the platform your school, because if you're waiting a week to talk already, we have to give him the platform here to talk about the Boks. But what I can say about the Boks,
100%.
They were absolutely brilliant yesterday. They were outstanding.
There he goes. He's running away because.
Is he running away? No, I think he's ran out of words. He spoke too much. His daughter's up for all of the chat the weekend. But Scoop, they were brilliant, Scoop. And I don't know, me, myself and you can talk about it a bit later. The adjustments the All Blacks need to make. But we have to give credit to the Boks. To get scored 47 points or 43 points in New Zealand Wellington, regardless of who. And it wasn't the best conditions as well. Eh? That wind was swirling. It was difficult. It was really difficult to play the fact that people forget about it. People don't see the rain and everything on the field, but on the TV, but you forget the conditions you're playing in Wellington, So that would adjust the game in the first half, in the second half, because the wind factor really came into it.
Yeah.
And the way they adjusted the game, yesterday we saw the perfect Tony Ball performance from them. And like you said, how do you drop? What do you do? But you know what? I think Rassie has this luxury now. If you play one bad test match, you're gone. And the guy waiting there is going to take his opportunity. So I think he has that luxury now, and he's got guys waiting in the background. Because, Kenan Moody put up his hand yesterday again. Manie Lebok, after all the critics was out against the Wallabies for that game at Ellis Park, the way Manie Lebok came back, the way Manie, marshaled the game yesterday, the way he took the ball to the line, the way he spread the ball, he was absolutely brilliant. And Damien Willemse, who all was saying, Damien Willemse hasn't played any rugby this year. How many clips was going on about Damien Willemse saying that Wallaby guy, no effort, no guts, no character. Yesterday, he played Jody Barrett off the park, He played Jody, he was unbelievable at 12 or 15. So, you know what? I think yesterday, the box stood up and the box really wanted it yesterday and the game clicked and they were absolutely brilliant. That could be one of the best Springbok performances I've seen in a long, long time, that was brilliant.
Interesting. Vickers, are you back? Vickers.
Yes, I'm back. Yes, I'm back.
I see you are running away here. Up and on and off. What's his name? What's the guy's name? Chu Ping. He's turning off the taps. He's turning off the taps.
HIA players yesterday. He's like the injury assessment players yesterday. On and off, on and off the whole time.
Are you back from the HIA? Because talk to me.
No, all good. Obviously we talk about the Springbok performance. Look, as Hugh said, they passed a lot. And you could see that. And I always ask myself the question, when you're playing against blitz defense and you're passing a lot, there's so much high risk passes that you're going to throw, which eventually, obviously, Ches and Kobe intercepted, which a couple of passes went forward. Yes, they did get reward from the first try because of that passing. So maybe that's why they also got the confidence to do it more. I think in terms of that, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm saying I call it a trap after scoring that first try. Yeah. Then they go, yes. It's going to be like this for 80 minutes. It's working. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it's working. Yeah. So they needed to adjust, but they didn't. And then, obviously, look, guys, we also have to be honest, the scrums were terrible from New Zealand side. I know Jade talks a lot about scrum, New Zealand scrum being good in recent years, but look, even if you're getting your own ball, through Channel 1, your props are still
going backwards
and getting scrummed properly.
Yeah.
And then including that, to go and start now losing your lineouts. So everything just trickled down for them. And then obviously with the Springboks, they just kept on doing the basics right. And I think that was what was impressive with the performance, is that they didn't try to do anything fancy. When they were carrying hard. When they were meant to run, they were running hard. When they were meant to pass, they were passing. They were basically doing their game plan.
Who was the leader when Kolisi left there? Because
I think it could have been. I think it could. Peter Steff, yeah. I think it could have been Peter Steff, and then also, funny enough, Manie Lebok was also talking a lot. He controlled the game a lot, quite nicely actually when Sia left.
Interesting.
And then also, obviously, guys like Achilles Neyman was still with most caps as well in terms of the group that was on the field. So I think they were pretty there as well. And again, we're talking about the number 8 jersey, Jasper Wiese. How good was he yesterday? But again, it's nothing fancy. He was just running hard, and that's what the Boks have missed. And I mean,
And Marks
the
too,
pick and
as
go
well.
from yes, and Marks, yes, and the pick and go from Sia was incredible. And the pass from S. Hazen to Chesley on the touchline. I mean, like I said, the Boks did the basics well. And in again in international rugby goes to show the team that does the basics well and the team that focuses on the small things, which is your set piece.
Yeah.
They get ascendancy in a game, and that's what the Boks did yesterday.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I must say it. I really do not know how many times I need to say this. Hugh, jump in there, and then I'll chime in after you.
Yeah, question for Vuyo really is that we, like I said, we spoke about the selection, and this week that they went for, maybe the more razzle dazzle guys. And if you take the 10, 12, 13 as an example, if I look at the 10, 12, 13 last week, you got Pollard's been playing in England, and then you got DDA and Creel playing in Japan. This week, 10, 12, 13 all played URC last season. They're playing in South Africa. They're in form. So is this you? So Vuyo, you've asked the question about, are these the most talented players in New Zealand? Are the players that played yesterday the most talented players in South Africa?
Fair.
Yeah. I think it's a good call. It's a good question, but also you have to remember, these are the best youngsters South Africa's got. You wouldn't pick in his age grade. David Willemse was the best. In his age grade, Kenan Moody was the best. Yes, Mani might not have been the best, but Sasha is the best in his age grade. So you have guys. You pick the guys that were best in their age grade. Even Ethan Hooker, actually, who's been a pony for many years. He's been a player of national interest for many years. So it's no surprise that he got this cap. They've been paying him. So for me, it's a matter of you realize that sometimes as a coach, you realize that, you know what, if your older guys don't give you the performance, what's stopping you giving the youngsters a go? Because you have nothing to lose. And I think that's what Rassie must have gone with. He went with the nothing to lose. He went with the youngsters and said to the youngsters, look, it's your opportunity. You must take it or not. And I mean, all those boys yesterday were excited. It's almost like they were given a challenge and they accepted. So for me, that's one thing that he did very well, is speak to his team in terms of how he's going to select it. And he told those boys, look, go out there, feel free, play, but within the structure. And I like the fact that you could see Damon Willemse was stepping at times. He was getting excited because that's what his natural game is. Ethan Hooker is a strong bugger. He's quick. I mean, he was getting ball carries. He was getting meters on his ball carries. So for me, it was a best decision for Rassie to start the youngsters because, again, he had nothing to lose. So now that you pose the question, now that this happened, what now? So what now? How is he going to do the end of the year tour selection? How is he going to do 2026 test games? Going into the World Cup, do you still think about a player like Vili? If you got Fassi and you got Sasha, you got Damon Willemse, who can all play 15 and all playing well, do you still need to take a guy like Vili? You've got Damon Delend is still fairly young, but you got a guy like Damon Willemse who was solid at 12. We know we can kick. We know he's a good tackler. So what now? Those are the questions.
Yeah. I think from a Springbok side, I think things are quite clear when it comes to the original starting lineup and when they need old heads. But I mean, if Rassie can build from this platform that he currently had in Wellington, taking this group that played in Wellington to the game against Argentina at home, and then to the game against Argentina at Twickenham, I think only then we'll probably know or get an idea of what's coming for 2026 going into 2027. But I'm quite curious because I listen to Rassie quite a lot when he talks about, like, for his his pressers leading into a test match. And when it comes to like the All Blacks, he always likes to mention like what's this, caps, you know. So he'll say like, oh, I see they've put in Leroy Carter. We know he's from a sevens background, etc., etc., and obviously doesn't have a lot of caps. So I mean, for me now, looking into the game, I watch the game and then I go, okay, I see what he was looking at, or things that they've done in the game that puts Leroy Carter under immense pressure, even though he still looked a bit sharper than Enrico Ioane in the past 2 years, to be honest. They put him under pressure a few times on defense because he had to come in, he had to tackle Kenan Moody or Apelele Fassi at one point. He had to scramble on D a few times, having to chase Cheslin Colby when the ball is kicked over him, etc. But like they tend to target small little details, but they tend to target players that are inexperienced. But I mean, a guy like Simon Parker, I think he really stood out defensively for me in the past 2 tests. But the problem now I have with the All Blacks is the same problem I've been mentioning on this podcast for almost, 5 years now. One weekend against Argentina, the first weekend against Argentina, All Blacks play percentage rugby. They dominate up front. They're mauling. They're winning their lineouts. Yes, maybe we might have missed a Cody Taylor, etc. for this weekend, but Tokiao and McAllister, horrible at lineout time. Springboks gave the All Blacks the front ball. I mean, if they're giving you front ball, just take front ball, guys, and work from there, right? If you analyze the games, if you analyze both games, last weekend's game, this weekend's game, All Blacks are getting given the front ball. Take the front ball, but now come up with an execution plan from the front ball. I mean, I was listening to Victor Matfield talking about lineouts. You don't give opponents any freaking opportunity to get easy ball, first of all, right? Lineouts are a point of attack. You launch an attack from a lineout, regardless of what ball you get, right? And now, have you noticed how people are fake mauling and then having a 6 or a 7 being the first receiver to play as a scrum half these days? I've seen Adi Savia do it a few times, but the lineout element and the lineout component has changed dramatically over the past couple of years. It is so detailed. It is one of the best functional launch attacks you can have for your team, because at scrum time, a lot of people are pretty much on their knees, roughly, for lack of a better example. They're pretty much on their knees. There's 8 players, and then you have 7-7 that are standing up. And there's pretty much 7-7 people marking each other, right? But at line-out time, everyone is on their feet. Everyone is running, which means everything needs to be done at pace. Everything needs to be done at a certain speed. I mean, I posted a few clips now, and I think Dylan also pointed out, an Adi Savia getting the ball off the top over the 15, ample space in front of him, but he decides to make a pass. And making a pass, and Vickers, you've just made the point now about the Springboks rush and line speed. It was incredibly quick. It was incredibly fast. They didn't give the All Blacks an inch besides that one try they scored. They didn't give the All Blacks an inch on defense. Proctor is isolated in that tackle. You've got Moody by his ankles. You've got Willemse pilfering, and he wins a turnover. Bowden Barrett was supposed to be, doing a wraparound, but now he's left this guy by himself, because as soon as he got the ball, it was almost ball and all, because he can't make that pass. If he makes that pass, it's another intercept from the same person, right? But regardless, I digressed a bit. But looking at the caps, man, on Saturday, you've got Simon Parker with 2 caps. You've got Noah with 2 caps, who also didn't play over 10 minutes in that game, right? And I think that was also another glitch in Razor's selection. I mean, Christie had a pretty good game last week, to be honest. Why don't you move from last week's template and use the same template this week? Then again, you have all your forwards hanging on the edges in the tram lines, but last week all your forwards were really targeting the breakdown. Now Springboks get clean ball. as a coach, I really hate a team getting clean ball and easy ball. Break down, line out. If you're struggling at scrum, then channel one ball in and out. That's fine. But all these other facets of the game, you cannot allow a team to get free ball. I'm sorry. But how are these guys planning their rugby? How are these guys structuring their detail into going into games? Ruben Love, 2 caps. How long has he been in camp? How long has Ruben Love been in camp? To only have 2 caps. He's been there under Fozzie. He's been here under Razor. 2 caps only. Bowden Barrett, 139 caps. And on Saturday, he played like somebody with 1 cap. He played like a Ruben Love. Saturday, I thought Bowden Barrett, that was his first rugby outing ever at this point. And people are telling me, no, All Blacks need a 10 who can kick to the corners. Kicking a ball to the corners, this is what's going to happen. You've got Apelele Fassi, you've got Cheslin Colby, you've got Ethan Hooker, for example. One of them gathers the ball inside their 22 while defenses are still running up. They're probably now around the 10-meter line, still chasing. I pick up the ball. I still have about 30 to 40 meters to play with. I can run it up over my 22, kick an aerial ball that goes into your own half around the 10-meter line. Cheslin Colby will definitely chase that. Cheslin Colby will definitely attack that ball in the air. You're not going to get a clean ball. Bowden Barrett is not going to be the guy that contests against Cheslin Colby, for example, because he never wants to jump for those aerial balls. He wants to sit and stand and catch the ball. And if you notice that trend, that's why some of the times he doesn't win the aerial ball. But nonetheless, Christie last week was doing the Lord's work at the breakdown and doing the exit box kicks, which worked very well. The All Blacks this weekend wanted to change their whole shape, their whole approach, which is something that we saw against Argentina. First test, they wanted to play close, play percentage, more drive, try, or whatever. Second test against Argentina, they wanted to throw the ball around. They got off the mark and scored 2 quick tries. It helped. And then they got trapped and got sucked in, thinking that the game was going to be like that for the rest of the 80 minutes. Similar thing happened on Saturday. Eden Park, percentage rugby, Wellington, they wanted to run. They scored first again, thinking the game was going to be similar. As soon as Cheslin Colby got that intercept, that's where the game changed for me. As soon as Mandy Libok in the first quarter came in, that's where the game changed for me. Springboks started changing up a few types of play. Damien Villeneuve started joining the line quite often. They started kicking a bit more from money instead of going to Kobus Reinach. There's a change in dynamic in that sense, kicking all the way to either Bowden Barrett at the back or what's this guy's name? Leroy Carter on the edge. So this game tactic really changed the dynamic, and also the Springboks, I think they almost had 80% territory in New Zealand half. So how were the All Blacks planning to play good rugby, first of all? How were they planning to score tries from their own half? It's impossible. It's highly impossible. I think that's a rant for me now, because you can jump in.
No, I just wanted to pose a question to you guys. First one was, what was happening between Jordan and Jordie Barrett? Why were they swapping on the bomb kicks? So are they not trusting Will Jordan? That's the first one. The second one
so just jump in. You saw in the very first crossfield kick, Hooker made a mug out of Jordan under the high ball. He just stood there and caught it right up against each other.
Yeah, 100%. But he's never had that problem before, Hugh. He's never had that problem before.
Yeah. So last week he was brilliant on the edge.
Yeah. So that was the first question. The second one was, Racing named his team quite early.
Mm-hmm.
Did that have an effect on Razor's selection going into the weekend? Like, for example, what you say now, Scoop, with Christie. Christie being benched. Like those small changes that he did that have an effect on his selection?
I think I have two answers for that because based on facts, I look at what happened in Argentina, like as I mentioned, right? The game tactic in the first test was more percentage orientated and more forward dominant. And in the second test, they wanted to run the ball and spread the ball a bit more. So it was similar case this past 2 weekends as well. Percentage rugby, box kicks, dominate the breakdown, dominate the line out, and win a test match. But then now you move to Wellington, and then you're like, okay, what the hell are we doing? Why are we trying to force the passes? Why are we trying to play too much? Why are we trying to overplay? So many times they're going backwards. And the thing is, I think one thing I mentioned as well is that when you're playing backwards the whole time and trying to pass the ball, that means you have to commit to a lot of rucks, running backwards and then joining the ruck, right? The other team is facing forward. Because now, if you're going backwards, you're coming around and then having to face the opponent's goal line. So there's a lot of things that I don't know if they actually think about this, right? I really don't know if they actually think about the detail, and the way it stresses your attack, it stresses your support when you run backwards and forcing play because they're trying to chase the edge by playing backwards so that they can spread the defenses. But then the defense is coming up so quickly, the ball hardly gets to the edge at times. Maybe once or twice it will get to the edge, but now they need to convert that percentage of how many times do we get to the edge when we pass the ball against rush defense? Out of 10, I'll say 2 or 3. So what is the point of playing this tactic if we're only getting 30% of it? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Jade.
I'm just listening to you around here. Scoop, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And it's been going on like this for a while. The All Blacks become a reactionary team. They play bad, they get crucified by the media. The next week they put in a good performance. I'm telling you now, if you don't talk in 2 weeks' time, they're going to give Australia a hiding. And everybody's going to think all well is doing. And then a week later, they're getting rubbish. And it's been so for a while. It's been so for a while. My question is, right, we all know Razor is the man. And look, I'm not one that's going to turn on a coach for it. But I think Razor's got it wrong.
It's time to go.
I think he's got it wrong in terms of his coaching staff. I think if you look at the other coaches or the teams around the world, look at the box, you look at France, you look at Ireland or so. They have coaches in there and their backroom staff is coaches that would step on the other coach's feet, the head coach, would challenge the head coach. I don't see Scott Hansen, I don't see Jason Holland, I don't see Tamati Ellison stepping and on Razor's feet, telling Razor, listen, yeah, I don't agree with this aspect or so. You spoke to me, you said that what changed, in terms of the preparation for the game. Well, Wayne Smith wasn't in camp. And, as much as Razor wants to claim that victory at Eden Park, we always look at it and say, well, wasn't this Wayne Smith doing, Wasn't this Wayne Smith the one who thought of this game plan? And isn't this game plan that they're playing now, isn't this Razor's game plan that he wants to play? So I'll look at it in that aspect. If I'm New Zealand Rugby and say, listen, we need to really get somebody in here to help Razor. I think in the group yesterday, during the national anthems, and I saw a picture of Tony Brown standing there. And I thought to myself, when are we going to see Tony Brown sing his own national anthem as a coach? When are we going to see that? It's something that's...
Tony Brown is out there and go see
He's sung a Japanese anthem and he's never ever sung his own national anthem. It's unfair because he's obviously one of the best attack coaches in the world. I know it doesn't make sense. You've got the Mikey Ellison, who's the skills coach, but the box skills is so much better than the skills at the moment. You're wondering, what's this guy doing? You speak about the high ball, Will Jordan, David McKenzie, all of them struggling under the high ball. Did you ever see them judge the kick and run onto the ball and catch the ball? Yeah. But look at the box when they go out.
It's a commitment thing.
Committing to the ball, getting
commitment. That's all it is.
Argentina, brilliant. You know what they do? Not into it, commit, eyes on the ball, get it, get it. But you don't see. They do that. They are they stress as soon as that kick comes. As soon as the box kick comes from them, the lock or the flanker that that's what will be running and running in the way. He's changing lanes to get out of the way, and he's so stressed. And there's just so much panic when it comes to boxing. But I'm thinking to myself, who does the skills coach? Who's the aerial coach? Or what does the Mighty Ellison do?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to play a faster game and get the ball out wide. Okay, I'll give you that. Let's try it. Okay. But your skill has to be up there. I mean, for Ari Xavier to make and Will Jordan simple catch, pass, But he brought yesterday. After Apile Fassi, 3 minutes before that, 4 minutes before that, Apile Fassi went for a intercept. He didn't get it. And then it should have been in their minds, guys. Watch the intercept. You know the intercept is coming with the rush D.
Yeah, but their coach is advising them to throw the ball. He's literally on Instagram telling them, pass it. Give that 50-50.
But if he keeps the ball, he scores under the post.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, it's time for Reza. He really needs to take ownership of this, man. I'm sorry.
And he's leader.
Yeah.
I mean, Scoop, your leadership, your lineup calls. I'm talking about leaders on the field. Who's your leaders? You have your vice captain, your captain, and you have the guys making the calls in the field. So that's your lineup callers as well. Before halftime, they get a 5-meter lineup. They get a sniff to take the game. It would have been 2010. Going into halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a coach killer for us. If they score it. What do they do with that 5-meter lineup? They have 3 mock jumps before they put the ball up with the back for Tupovai. Where he's over the 15, Sia knew the rules and he just bumped him because obviously there's no contest there. The lineup is over, right?
Yeah.
So there's no contest there. Sia just bumped him, he lost the ball. Why overcomplicating things? The same with the lineup there on their 5, defending. They have an inexperienced hooker in Brody McAllister, regardless how good he is at lineup time, regardless of his inexperience in this pressure situation. What do they
One
do?
test cap.
Yeah, but they go 4 man. And then they do a few mock jumps and they throw the ball into Ruan Lukia's hand. And from there, David Williams scored. So you've got to look at those calls. Who is making those calls? Who said that Tyrell Lomax is fit, to play against the box and start? Because for me, a lot of the scrum pressure came from his side with Fox, It looked better when Newell and Tamaiti came on. It looked better. But, I mean, it started there already on the back. Those guys were on skates. Tyrell Lomax was on skates the whole game. And just make the call. Then you made half time, Start to be ruthless. But I still think, they got to look. And, I mean, you got to look at who's available to come in and help us, guys. There's a lot of coaches in Japan twiddling their thumbs, with international experience. And they can come in. I mean, there's a lot of coaches in Japan that can come in and help him.
Not Fozzie.
Not Fozzie. Warren Gatlin's not got a job at the moment.
There's Robbie Deans, right? Who has a good relationship with him and got a lot of IP, right? Looking at guys like looking at your Daryl Gibsons of the world, looking at your Aaron Majors of the world. What's the guy's name that's at Leinster? I can't get his name. It was a British Lions assistant coach. I can't get his name now. He's also from Crusader background. But then you're looking at, the guys that's also, they can come in and help him. That he can challenge. He's not going to be a guy that's going to change things. He's more of a head coach or none. He's more of the guy that's going to be a motivator.
Yeah, but I'm tired. I think I'm tired of these Instagram All Blacks, man.
Yeah, so I think
my biggest issue is those Instagram All Blacks. The Addis
we need to see a response from them, Scoop. You need to see a response from them because what they did yesterday was embarrassing for the black shirt. I mean, there's guys out there, that would have been. I mean, you're looking at guys like. I mean, I'm just name dropping now. Your Marty Hollers, your Wheelers, your even your Tony Browns or so, they would have won much more All Black caps, if the team wasn't that strong back in the day. I mean, that would give the left testicle to play more caps for the All Blacks. And I mean, I felt yesterday the guys that got there, 2 of them got their jersey too cheap. And I think for now, Reza just needs to be ruthless now. He needs to be ruthless and he needs to dwell down on
man, we need Ruben Love at 10, man. I'm sorry, because I'm tired.
Even if you go Ruben Love at 10. And then he has one bad game, and then
I don't care. I would rather take a loss, having guys that are given a proper opportunity and a proper goal. I mean, Ruben Love, if he's given an opportunity against Australia, he's playing against Ted Edmund. I mean, come on, seriously. I mean,
He
if he
needs
plays
wake-up.
end of the year, they only playing who? England, Ireland, and Italy, I think.
For the right of Scotland. If Scotland plays All Blacks tomorrow, has he gotten a
Don't be
chance to
Don't be Justin Marshall here. Don't be Justin
I'm
Marshall.
giving him a chance of beating him, bro. I know what to expect from Scotland. I don't know what to expect from the All Blacks, unfortunately. The Scottish backline is far better than the All Blacks.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
I back that, to be fair. It was brave, but he said it.
Oh, it's a circus. But yeah, not what is this? Moving away from a good performance from the Springboks. I think for me personally, I think I've always admired structured play. I've always admired that players fall in line to a particular discipline that's been set by your head coach. And once you divert, or once you start pivoting, once you start moving away from the actual team game plan, coach pulls you off. For me, that's authority. For me, that shows shows players, man, as well, right? That your coach knows what he's doing. He's telling you to do X, Y, Z for a reason. Because if you fall in line and you do the right basics for however long you put on the field, even if it's 40 minutes, even if it's 20 minutes, all the coach wants you to do is X, Y, Z, execute at optimum level, execute at 110%, you're good to go. And I think Rassie hasn't changed that mantra or motto for the Springbok team since 2017 December, once he got elected into this position. And he took that I mean, because yes, you might say, this All Blacks, these players are nonsense and they're not good enough, etc., etc. But I mean, we look at an era from 2011, from a Springboks perspective. They lose a quarterfinal. They kind of have a same team roughly in 2012 under Heineke Meyer. Heineke Meyer had to work his magic, right, at times to get that team operating quite well, but they weren't really consistent, but they were winning matches. They weren't losing a lot of home games besides the All Blacks in that era. But yeah, I mean, and then Alistair Coetzee comes through and he struggles a bit, right? Now I'm looking at this situation, I'm thinking to myself, how do you lose by 40 to 10, for over 40 points to 10 at home? Reminds you, like Jade said, it reminds you of the Springboks losing 57 in Durban, you know? Because now is this Razor era, Alistair Coetzee era at this point? What on earth is going on?
No, it's different. It's different, but I'll tell you this: this team that you're talking about, I would say the problem that you have here is that you're coming from a bad era of Fozzie, but in his bad era, he reached the World Cup final, and now you got a guy who was supposed to take over in 2019 but didn't. So he only took over in 2023, end of the year. And now he's under pressure because of the previous era. But because of the previous era, he's also he actually probably, I would say, from my side, my opinion, he underestimated the job. And now he's realizing in, week out, he's realizing that he's not
up to scratch.
Being in charge of this team is not all rosy. You know what I mean? Remember, this guy is coming from Crusaders. He was winning everything. So he's realizing now that this is not rosy, because he first of all, you can't play the game plan that you always wanted or you always come with into this level.
100%.
You have to adjust. You have to adjust to international standards.
100%.
So within that, he has to realize himself that he can no longer be the coach of the Crusaders that everyone wanted. He has to be an All Black coach of 2025 with the players that he has. And that's very simple. And only awareness coaches. Hansen said, when you are coaching at a national level, you need to be aware of you as a coach, because you lose a lot of what you always wanted. And to me, that has stuck right through, because I know I come to China. Yes, I want to play a game like South Africa fast and everything. I can't do that. I need to play a structure where it's going to fit these guys that I have, And I think that's what at the moment Razor's missing. He's missing just that point of he still thinks that it's a Crusaders team instead of an All Black team.
Perfectly said, Vickers. Perfectly said. Then, Vickers, when we look at Eden Park, right? Look at the style of play they implemented. They didn't do a lot. They weren't trying a lot of things, right? And I'm happy you mentioned this, because I look at a guy like Bowden Barrett. I remember under Fozzie, there was a time he was being interviewed, and once Joe Schmidt was introduced and Bowden Barrett was asked about the style of play and things, how things should be done, and his answer was along the lines of, "Yeah, the coaches are giving us structures and pattern this, pattern that, but I want to play to what I see." So for me, that stuck with me when Bowden Barrett said this, and I thought to myself, "What the?" I'm not gonna swear. What on earth, right? I mean, what are these coaches doing to a player of Bowden Barrett's caliber, right? To get him to toe the line, to get him to fall under a structure, because I feel like Bowden Barrett does his own thing at times in that team. Like, he really moves away from the structure that is being set, from the structure that is supposed to be followed through at times, right? I know in Wellington yesterday, that falls on Razor and everything, but there are times, I mean, if you look at Eden Park, that's not Bowden Barrett's style. He didn't even touch a ball a few times to exit, just to give you an understanding of the two different styles of play. Doesn't get a ball to exit in Eden Park, but on yesterday, there's a ball that gets kicked by Sasha. He miscues the to find touch, and the ball lands in the 22. You've got Will Jordan, you've got Bowden Barrett, on the other side you've got Billy Proctor, and then you have what's this winger, Leroy Carter. So now the ball lands inside the try line, inside the goal line, and Jordan catches. Instead of kicking the ball out, he passes to Bowden Barrett. Yeah? No, but come on. Come on.
It's Cape Town Club Rugby all over.
No, man. You must be joking. You must be joking. He passes to Bowden Barrett. Barrett, instead of kicking it out, now South Africa has 4 or 5 people up. And I'm thinking to myself, this has to be the craziest thing I've seen at this level. I mean, something like that, Vic, something like that for me tells me that, you know what? All Blacks probably do have a structure that they need to follow during training, but every single time they get hit or bumped in the head, the structure falls away. The players don't know the players fall out of structure. The players don't want to follow the structure anymore. And for me, that's a discipline thing. And for me, that's a leadership thing. And for me, that's a coaching thing. Because now, if you stop following the structure and you stop following the pattern that you've been given, then you don't listen to the coach. You don't listen to the leaders. I mean, Jason Ryan last week said, yeah, we're going to respond in Wellington. What response?
Sorry, school.
Yeah.
Is what is Barrett, the lock? Scott. Is Scott Barrett going to tell his brother to stick to the structure?
Probably not. Probably not. That's Jade, you need to come in.
That's where things start.
No, I don't know. I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to do that. But I think, you know, we're going on here like, you know, Bowden Barrett is this spoiled kid. You know, he's got that attitude. Bowden doesn't have that attitude. Bowden's a guy that's, you know, he likes to play what he sees in front of him. And unfortunately, we are so used to Bowden's speed getting him out of trouble. How many times we've been in that difficult, tough situation, and in that burst of speed got him out of trouble, you know, and it ended up being like, it's what can I say? It's world class, outstanding from Bowden. But once, you know, once the handbrake starts to go up, you know, that's when it comes out. And does Bowden Barrett have that skill or that mindset, you know, to change and alter his game? That's, I think, the big issue with him now. I don't think he's the kind of player that wouldn't listen to Scott or wouldn't do this or that. I think he's the player in the team, him and Audie, that everybody listens to, that looks up to. Bowden and Audie, I think they're one of the two leaders there, or the lead in the team. But in terms of Scott Barrett yesterday, bro, I don't know. I was fair to give him a chance and opportunity as a captain. But what was he saying under the polls yesterday? Was he saying, guys, you know what, this is disgraceful, you know, going really hard onto his troops and saying, come on, we need to do better? Because I just looked at the try, I think it was Kwagga scored, where if you commit the break, you know, from his own half, nobody was chasing in the line.
Zero.
Nobody was chasing. There was zero. It was so easy. All it would be so poor automatic Williams. 150 pages of it. But you know, if at least it shows.
Hey, what a circus. Wow.
But you understand what I'm saying? That's what it came to yesterday. So where was the leadership? Who was talking in that huddle? Who was reprimanding the guys and saying this absolute bullshit was going on here? Who your finger, guys? What the absolute hell is going on? But you know, we can say, but that's where for me, you know, Scott Barrett lost a lot of brownie points yesterday. I think that's where he needs. For me, I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy to keep the All Black forward. I mean, if we're going to give it now to Audie, let Audie lead them. But I don't think on current form, he's the best lock in New Zealand. I don't think he deserves actually his spot in the team. You know, I'd rather go with Bai and Holland. At the moment, I think that two have been the two better locks at the moment compared to Scooter. I don't think Scooter's on form. But yeah, all three Barrett actually, I mean, there's a big case for them to be dropped. But you know what, Scoop? At the end of the day, you know, they can take responsibility left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And the All Black response, and they can win all of their games by 30, 40 points, you know, until the end of the season. That dark cloud of words will be over what happened yesterday. There's damage that was done yesterday, bro. There's damage. 43 points at home against the ball. There's damage. I mean, they tour South Africa next year. They play 3 tests here. That's the time they're going to face them. They come to South Africa, they're playing 3 tests here. So, as a British Lions type tour that they're doing South Africa next year. For them, you know, that's a big mental block, a big mental thing that's going to come on them and be in the back of their minds. Okay, the last time we played this guy, they gave us a riding of note, you know. So for me, that's always going to be, you know, if I think of 2025 and the All Black season, regardless of the result, how it goes in the year, even if they do win the Rugby Championship, because they're not out. This result from Saturday, that's going to be the one that's where I say, well, judged it and say, well, they lost by 43 points in the box. Unfortunately, you know, they had opportunity to get back to Freedom Cup. They had opportunity to get that mental advantage over the box again, but they were demolished. And it just makes you think, was the box really that bad at Eden Park, you know, or were the All Blacks good? That's what it makes me think now as an All Black supporter, you know. It takes a lot away from what happened at Eden Park.
They were just stupid. Absolutely stupid.
No, bro. The Boks were useless in Eden Park.
The All Blacks were stupid at Wellington. Anyway. Right, I think, jeepers, we've spoken a full-on hour about the All Blacks and the Springboks. Your comments on Argentina and Australia, who like to do things, or to like to leave things rather, to the end or to the last minute. What actually is happening there with Joe Schmidt? Talk to me.
It's a great question. Because I went back and looked, and I found that between the November tour last year and the end of the British and Irish Lions tour. By the way, France have just beaten Ireland. Between the November tour last year and the end of the British and Irish Lions tour, Australia won the first half in all but 2 games. Whereas now, so far in the Rugby Championship, they haven't won a single first half. Out of the 114 points that Australia have scored, only 29 have been in the first half in this Rugby Championship so far. So here's the question off the back of that. Is it a case of Schmidt has made a deliberate change of going, look, we were starting games well and losing. We need to be stronger at the end of games. And so he's changing selection on that. Particularly James O'Connor is the example I'm thinking there. For me, that he's clearly playing better than either Tom Liner or Tane Edmed. But for whatever reason, they don't want to start him. Or is it a case of they're going out, they're playing what Schmidt told them to play. They go 3 scores down and they go, guys, look at me. Let's just play. Let's just do this. And then in which case Schmidt isn't bringing the value. Now, I struggle to believe that Schmidt isn't bringing the value because we know of his qualities as a coach. So I'll let you guys speak on that first. I do have another question about this game for the panel, but I'll come back to me on that after this.
Okay, yeah, keep that on hold. But yeah, also remind us if we tend to digress a bit and obviously move away from that topic. Because there was also something that came up during the week as well about the number of sevens players that are really making inroads. I mean, we spoke about Leroy Carter. We've spoken about an Adi Savia before. We've spoken about Cheslin Colby, Kwagga Smith, but Argentina as well, right? Have a few players that have made inroads. And I also asked you guys the question around the fact that, I mean, when you look at international rugby currently, maybe Scotland might be there and thereabout. But if we're talking backlines around the globe, and I think maybe yesterday that backline by the Springboks could make an argument, but so far Argentina have been very consistent with their backs, and they look prime time at this point. And would you say, I mean, looking at Argentina, that they have probably the best backline in terms of shape, in terms of running, in terms of passing skills, in terms of individual skills? But I think most importantly, how they shape up on attack and how they add more numbers and how they attack the line and create space for each other on attack.
Yeah, I think, look, in terms of the backline, I think you guys you were spot on in the group when you said they could possibly have the best backline currently. And I don't think that anyone would argue because, yes, they can play. Imagine Carreras is playing so well now, but just a few months ago, he was benching for Albanos, and who we know is quality. So I think for me, they just made a turnaround, man. They just made a turnaround. Yes, they got a couple of good 7-stars. I think with Isgro has been picked because he's so good in the air. I don't think the World Rugby has seen enough of Isgro in terms of that his ability in aerial skills. This guy could probably slot into any AFL team with ease in terms of just how good he is in the air. I think that's why a guy like a checker picked him first when he saw him because of those aerial skills. So, look, I think with in terms of what the Argentinian team has, they brilliant. They're brilliant. Then Hugh asked a question about what's happening with Australia. I think it's got to do with the condition, because the way sometimes when you condition a team, in terms of fitness training, you have a good second wind later on in the game, and that's when you kick. If you guys remember Crusaders back in the days, that's exactly the Australian team reminds us of that, because Crusaders used to score most points from 60th minute to 80. They used to actually put a lot of points on the board, and I think that with this Australian team, they sort of going that way. I don't know, because back in the days, Crusaders, we used to hear they were doing fitness on, I can't remember if it was fitness on a Monday and a Thursday,
But maybe this is the conditioning that's making Australia play this way. They don't intend to play this way, but because of the conditioning. And then, I think for me, Argentina left a lot of points out there. And I think that's why the game, I felt like this game shouldn't have been close. And I even said to you, Scoop, Argentina should have been 40 points going into halftime. That's how good they were in that half. And I think with everything that they missed, and we know how Argentina is in terms of discipline, you always have to think, when is it going to come? When is it going to come? And as soon as that yellow card from Carreras got in, everything just went downhill. They had no one controlling anything. It was almost like they lost a big part of their game. And I think in terms of that, the coaching staff better start looking at other players to make an influence and be able to run systems. Because if you lose your number 10 due to something like that, it's massive.
Are the brothers actually Santiago Carreras and Mateo Carreras?
There's
no. That's the 11.
Anything. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, Jade, you wanted to jump in as well?
Yeah, you know what? I also think Rio's right there. You can look at their conditioning, the prep they put into the Lions to, they knew that, I think in the back of Schmidt's mind, he knew that, 23 man for man, the Lions were better than us and they have better depth than us, but we can get fit, I think there was no way that the Lions fitness level would match their level, because of time of the year. The Lions was at the end of the year, a lot of tired bodies, a lot of guys played a lot of rugby. So I think Schmidt also saw that as a loophole into the pick. We get this guy fitter. They've been longer in camp as well. It was only the Brumbies basically that played an extra week in Super Rugby, but they've been long in camp. And then they also played longer. They waited longer, another 2 weeks before they played the first test against the Lions. Although they did play a game against Fiji, but still, he had more time to prep and he really focused on his fitness. And also, when it comes to sports science and stuff, we forget how good Australia is in terms of that aspect. I mean, if you look around the world in global sports, Australia is really a monster when it comes to sports science in that aspect. So I really think that was what Schmidt's doing, to get these guys fit and to get these guys a song like that. And the other thing is, Scoop, I need to answer you here. The bench selection and the players coming off of the bench is making an impact. I mean, you look at Angus Bell every week, the impact he's making from the bench. You're looking at, Kalakai Lotto came from the bench yesterday. Against the Box, James O'Connor came from the bench yesterday. So you're looking at that aspect as well. Who comes from the bench? Take McDermott comes from the bench. So those guys are really making an impact. Carlo Tizano, they're really making a massive impact. And I think that also we see where they have quality players, that could start at any day, but they're making an impact. They're getting the right amount of time to make the impact. They're getting that 5 minutes really just to get close to the flow of the game. And then they're making that impact. The substitutions made at the right time as well. So I think that was. I was always praising Australia so much, looking at the game yesterday. I think Argentina, if I'm contemplating, I'm kicking myself for throwing that first test away, because I think they threw that test away. I think they
completely agree.
They should have won both games, and they would have been sitting solid on top of the log now, and with a real massive chance, of winning this rugby championship for the first time. Imagine Argentina had to go in playing the Box. Argentina is a passion team. They drive with passion. What's the sport today? If we win both games here, or if we win one game and keep it close, we can really win the rugby championship and get our first silver win in international rugby. Imagine what that would do to that camp. Imagine the performance, how they would lift those players. So for me, I think that last test against Australia, the first one, I think they should have won that game. If they won that game, I think they would have been a really, really big chance of winning the rugby championship.
Yeah, fair enough. But I thought from what I saw from Australia, I think they had Tane Edmund, they tend, and him and Liner tend to make like simple mistakes in that first half. They're always under pressure. And Australia started off well in this game, but they scored the first try, get 7 points up, and then 2 minutes later, straight from kickoff. I mean, that's a coach killer. Straight from kickoff, a hooker really charges down Nick White's kick, and scores a try. I'm like,
That was their
what?
only try in the game, by the way.
That's crazy talk. Honestly, crazy talk. And then Carrera, obviously, boot. What a boot, man. Huh? You could kick them from everywhere on Saturday. From everywhere.
Up there with Ramos. Got to be one of the best kickers in the world.
Sheesh. That was incredible. That was incredible. But yeah, guys, I think looking forward to next week. I think, isn't URC kicking off next week, or is it in 2 weeks' time?
2 weeks time.
You had another one.
But wait,
You had another question for us.
yeah, I got another question for you. So, guys,
yeah.
here's the question. Defense wins games, yeah? 4-1 on the try counts to Australia. Okay, so who had the better defense in this game?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one because I mean,
One team conceded.
Yeah,
one
but
team
if I look,
conceded 4 tries. The only one they conceded was that charge down.
No, fair. But I think in the context of the game, and Carrera getting that yellow card, and then Australia getting a late surge in the last 5 minutes of the game. I mean, we can still say Argentina probably had very good defense up until then, right? The context of the game, because if you mention those stats to anyone, everyone will probably say, "Oh man, the team that conceded 4 tries probably had shitty defense." But then the context of it is for 75 minutes, Australia couldn't score tries at all, and then the late surge and trying to chase the game.
Forward passes.
But I thought the one to McWright or from McWright was better than that other try they allowed. I was like, no, is it Tangunu who scored in the corner? I'm like, whoa, that is forward. I mean, even the commentators called it forward, but they didn't want to call the McWright one forward.
Hey, the Australian commentators complete head loss, by the way, in the last 10 minutes of this game. Completely lost the plot.
And even the fans, man, they were booing the ref every single time. Oh, speaking of the ref, what are your guys' thoughts on Wilson in that game? How often did he have to come up to Christoph Ridley every single infringement, every single call? He was really in his ear.
Controversially, I actually thought that Christoph Ridley had a good game. I think that any bad calls in this game were more the TMO than him.
Mm-hmm.
But he made decisions quickly, which I liked. But anyway, I would say if that's Wayne Barnes or if that's Luke Pearce, I think they turn to someone else from the Australia team and say, find me another captain. I don't want to work with this guy anymore.
Oof, perfect. Anyway, Hugh, closing comments, and then Vickers jump in after Hugh, and then Jade, you jump in there, and then we close it off.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Jade said. I think Argentina will be kicking themselves that they didn't win both games. I think that Contaponi will reflect on it and say that we should have won both of these games. We were the better side in both games. But I do think that is progress for
Argentina.
Los Pumas. I do think that is progress from Argentina. Rather than being brave losers, they are now taking the step to be disappointed winners, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that is progress for them.
No, fair enough. Vickers?
Yeah, I agree. I think they're also starting to, I don't know, man, for me, they're starting to find the perfect balance between a strong forward game and the backline and a backline oriented game. And I think in saying that has to go a lot of credit to Contaponi, because I mean the forwards that he's picking now are starting to be very dominant.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of time. Like Hugh said, with this Argentinian team, they don't like playing well. They don't win much games at home, so maybe the game in Twickenham was their way to finish off the Rugby World Championship.
It's gonna be a humdinger. It's going to be a humdinger. I'm telling you now. Oh my goodness. Jade, closing comments. All Blacks, Argentina.
One comment, to you. Did you know that Pedro Rubiolo is 22 years old? Gosh, I almost fell off my chair when I found out that the Locomotion team is only 22.
Shut up, man. Really?
Wow. No way.
He's playing like a seasoned veteran. He's outstanding, Dog Paul's brilliant, and the future is bright, he's only 22 years old. And the other thing I want to tell you guys is that my boys from Kimberley, the Griquas, are in another Currie Cup final, guys. Don't forget about that.
Wow, that's amazing.
You win some, you lose some, clearly. At least Griquas brought a smile to your face, Jay, weekend.
Yeah. No, they definitely did.
Yeah,
tough one. They're going up to the Lions, the URC Lions team, in the final. Lions are getting back to full strength.
Lions are in the final.
Lions, Griquas final. Yeah.
In Kimberley.
It'll be at Ellis Park, so we'll have about 10 people in the crowd there, instead of having a full house.
Yeah, to be fair, they sold a few tickets for the last year's final when they had the ball in the lead in overtime and still lost.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, so Lions Griquas final for the Currie Cup. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It'll be a full strength Lions team again.
Oh man, this is a sad story for me. For the guy that was head coach of this team and then being removed halfway through it, etc. This is just crazy. But nonetheless, my closing shots, guys, is that Springboks played well. And I mean, I don't even want to say that this is a learning point for Razor, but I want an intervention. I think, Jade, what you mentioned earlier regarding coaches that are seasoned and chilling in Japan could be a way forward, because they really need somebody who's more authoritative or somebody who can come and assist that coaching group, because really, it's really, really true at this point, and they are really over their heads by the looks of things. So yeah, Springboks did well, but All Blacks really need to take this, and they will respond against Australia. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is the game you wanted to win. This is the game they should have won. This is the game where experienced players should have put up their hand and really show their experience, but they lost to a very determined and a very skillful backline from the Springboks. But Argentina as well, I mean, I've been very impressed with how they've played and how they've carried themselves in the past 2 seasons. And I think going forward, it's going to be very interesting. I just want them to be as consistent as the All Blacks have been maybe previously, and how consistent the Springboks have been. I mean, if they really want to win this tournament, I think this year is probably the biggest chance of them doing that. And since they like to play away from home, the first game is away from home, and then the second game is also away from home in Twickenham. So it's Durban. They haven't lost in Durban as well. So
South Africa's well. So yeah,
that's yeah. They haven't lost in Durban. So Twickenham, they already beat the Lions. Where did they play the Lions? Was it in Wales?
Aviva Island, Dublin.
Aviva, Dublin. All right, fair enough. Guys, thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Vuyo. Thank you to all your listeners. This has been a great conversation. Be sure to share, like, comment on the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast. You can find it on YouTube as well if you prefer, but there's no visuals there, just the audio. And yeah, guys, I'm gonna share the links later on today. And yeah, thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful Sunday roast in China, Vickers and Jade. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a wonderful week ahead. Obviously, we will be online this week. Whatever needs to be commented on or threads are being shared. And Hugh had that interview with one of the Springbok ladies. You can check that out on his timeline and on his YouTube page as well. But yeah, thank you guys and have a wonderful Sunday. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Hey there.